now, Chair Deegan.
Okay, want to welcome everybody to the Chesapeake Bay and Atlantic Coastal Bays Critical Area Commission meeting. Got a little announcement at the beginning here. This is being held virtually and due for convenience to the public and commissioners. The meeting is being held using Microsoft Teams and will be streamed to the public. The public will also be able to view the meeting from the Commission's website, and the meeting will be closed captioned. Minutes of the meeting will be provided on our website. All microphones will be muted, and we ask that you hold questions or comments till the end of each presentation. Please announce yourself by name when speaking so that the attendees on the phone can identify you. If you're joining the meeting by phone, press *6 to unmute yourself. The public was invited to submit written comments on any agenda items up to 24 hours prior to the meeting. Those comments will be read by the executive director at the appropriate time. Kate, could we just do a quick roll call here of the commissioners?
We certainly can. I will go down the list and call your name as to who is present. No need to respond. If at the end I have not called your name, I will give you an opportunity to announce yourself. And this is just for the commissioners. So Commissioner Ackley, Commissioner Adams, Commissioner Blazer, Commissioner Bradshaw, Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Grant, Commissioner Greer, Commissioner Jacobs, Commissioner Johnston, Commissioner Laird, Commissioner Marks, Commissioner Merritt, Commissioner Parker, and Commissioner Taylor are all on, as well as Commissioner Cornwell, Commissioner McCall, Commissioner McDowell, Commissioner Oberg, and Commissioner Roberson. Is there a commissioner on that I have missed? Is there anyone in the chat? It does not look like it. So I think we got the roll call, Chairman Deegan.
All right, thank you very much. I want to welcome everybody today. It's another great day here in the state of Maryland. And we have a new commissioner that I want to introduce today. I didn't give him any warning, but it's, I don't know, I might have mentioned at the last meeting before he got sworn in, but it's Stephen Taylor. He represents Worcester County and the coastal bays. By way of short introduction, before I ask Stephen to say a few words on his own behalf, he owns and operates Ayers Creek Adventures. It's a paddleboard and canoe and kayak tour company in Worcester County, and he's from Berlin, Maryland. One interesting thing, he was the first executive director of the Maryland Coastal Bays program and currently serves as a member of the chair of their board. So, Stephen, could you maybe take a minute and say a few words about yourself to the rest of your fellow commissioners?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited about this position and look forward to working with the team. I hope to learn a lot about what the Critical Area Commission does and how we can help protect natural resources in the state. And I was part of a meeting this morning with the program committee and really enjoyed learning that and hearing about what's going on. So I look forward to the opportunity, and thanks for the introduction. Okay,
well, thank you and welcome aboard. Okay, we'll start with approval of the minutes. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from any commissioner?
So moved, Commissioner Marks.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or seeing none, I assume we're ready to vote. All those in favor of the minutes, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes carry unanimously. Okay, we'll get into rock and roll. We'll go right into projects with our first one from Susan, which is the Maryland Department of Transportation MOU.
Well, thank you, Chairman Deegan, and good afternoon, everyone. Let's take a moment here to pull up the presentation.
Susan, it's showing your,
Your Teams, yes, my screen looks different than it normally does. Let me just stop presenting for a second. See if I can do it this way. Just one moment. And see if I can bring it over. Okay, are you seeing it now?
yes.
Okay, great. All right. So this is Susan McCloof, and I will be presenting an amendment to the Maryland Department of Transportation Memorandum of Understanding with the Critical Area Commission, better known as the MDOT MOU. So at its April 7th, 2021 meeting, the Critical Area Commission voted to approve the Maryland Aviation Administration exhibit to the Memorandum of Understanding between the Commission and the Maryland Department of Transportation. Exhibit A2 was approved with a condition requested by the project subcommittee that staff work with MDOT to determine how per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS, contamination reporting requirements could be incorporated into either the MAA exhibit or into the overall MDOT MOU in order to cover all individual MDOT transportation business units. So to address this condition, the following actions were taken. A meeting was held on May 17th, 2021 with staff from MDE, the Commission, DNR, and MDOT in attendance. A memo was sent to the project subcommittee. A draft amendment to the MDOT MOU was composed, and critical area staff gave an update to the project subcommittee and the full commission at the June 2nd, 2021 commission meeting. The update to the project subcommittee in June included a summary of the May 17th interagency meeting and a discussion of current federal and state efforts regarding PFAS research, sampling, and testing. The draft amendment was also presented to the project subcommittee for review. In addition, the MDOT secretary has reviewed and approved the draft amendment. The proposed amendment cites Natural Resources Article 8, 1814C, regarding the applicability of other laws in which states the following. This subtitle is not intended to relieve any obligation otherwise imposed by law or regulation to obtain licenses, permits, or approvals from state and local regulatory agencies or to comply with applicable state and local regulatory prohibitions or restrictions. Therefore, the amendment clarifies that all projects must comply with all applicable state and local requirements. The amendment also states that the Commission must be notified when any controlled hazardous substance or chemical is known to be found on site, and that all projects must comply with the state's water quality standards. So this slide contains the specific language that would be inserted after Section 311 of the MOU. And as a reminder, Section 3 is the part of the MOU that outlines the process that must be followed for projects reviewed under the MOU. So Section 312 would read, each TBU, when conducting development activities in the critical area, shall ensure that the TBU complies with all applicable federal, state, and local requirements. Section 313 would read, each TBU, when conducting development activities in the critical area, shall notify the Commission if the TBU is or becomes aware of controlled hazardous substances or chemical contamination of soil or water, and shall adhere to state water quality standards. The draft amendment also includes the language shown on this slide regarding electronic signatures. This part of the proposed amendment is not related to the PFAS reporting issue. Rather, it is based on discussions with Emily Vanieri, Assistant Attorney General, who recommended that this language be included in all critical area MOUs to clarify that electronic signatures are legally the same as original signatures. And this language will be inserted on page 7 of the MOU after Section 9.9. And Section 9 of the MOU contains the general provisions. So Section 9.10 would read, electronic signatures. Signatures provided by electronic means, including, by way of example and not of limitation, facsimile, Adobe, PDF, and sent by electronic mail or via an electronic signature program, shall be deemed to be original signatures. So I will now turn it back over to Chairman Deegan for any questions.
Okay, do we have any questions from any of the commissioners? Seeing none, I'll recognize Catherine McCall, Chairman of the Project Subcommittee.
Thank you, Chairman Deegan. The Project Subcommittee, on behalf of the Project Subcommittee, I move that the Commission approve the text amendments to the Maryland Department of Transportation Memorandum of Understanding with the Critical Area Commission in accordance with the staff report and presentation.
Is there a second to that? Since Mayor Mahoney's not with us, who wants to step up? How about Mayor Adams?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Very good. Susan, you did a great job.
Oh,
And
thank you. You're welcome.
Another MOU down. Or in the
Yes.
Now we'll move on to Department of Natural Resources, Smallwood State Park Campground Loop upgrades. That's where we're gonna, I suggested to Kate, maybe we should have the meeting there, but she didn't think that was a good idea. But anyhow, Tay Harris is going to present this one for us.
Thank you, Charlie. Let me go ahead and get the presentation up on screen.
This would have been a nice day to be at Smallwood State Park.
Let me know if you can see it. We can. It's yep. Now it's in presentation mode. Thank you. Thank you, Tay. Sure, no problem. Okay, so I'm here to present to you the DNR Smallwood State Park Campground Improvements Project, but I'd like to make two announcements before I start. One is your staff report has been revised from the original one sent out, and it reflects that DNR has sent to us a planting plan and an agreement. And the second announcement I'd like to make is that I'd like to welcome Leanne Chandler, who is here representing DNR.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Leanne.
Hi. Good to see you.
The Smallwood State Park Campground contains 21 mini cabins and traditional RV tent camp pad sites. DNR proposes to repair existing campsites, add 4 new campsites, and replace 2 mini cabins, replace in kind the 40-year-old bathhouse, repave the access road and expand the turnaround for RVs, replace the septic system drainage field, and upgrade the septic system with enhanced nutrient removal technologies. This project's being brought to you by COMAR 270205, state agency actions resulting in development on state-owned lands, as well as COMAR 270206, conditional approval of state or local agency programs in the critical area. This project requires a conditional approval due to the proposed impacts to the expanded buffer. The project site is located on the western shore of Charles County, as shown in the vicinity map located in the upper right-hand corner of the slide, and it is situated along the Mattawoman Creek. The project site is located here within a 628-acre park. The project site consists of 1.82 acres, of which 1.52 acres is located in the critical area on lands designated resource conservation area. The ground is located on an elevated peninsula encompassed by steep slopes and wetlands on both sides, and due to the steep slopes, the buffer is expanded. You will also find FIDS habitat present on site. So I've outlined the buffer so you can see it better, and the buffer impacts include 0.05 acres of FIDS habitat clearing, which you can see circled at the bottom of the site plan. Permanent impacts also include the emplacement of 0.04 acres, as shown in the red circles as well, and depicted with purple thatching, as well as the 0.01 acres of a lot coverage to be removed, also in the red circles and depicted in red thatching. There will also be temporary impacts to the buffer due to ground disturbance, and they comprise of 0.28 acres. Impacts outside the buffer include 0.55 acres of FIDS habitat clearing, as shown in the red circle,
In addition, lot coverage will be placed outside the buffer, equating to 0.33 acres, also shown in the red circles and depicted in the purple thatching, as well as the lot coverage to be removed, which is 0.17 acres, which is depicted in the red thatching. The temporary impacts outside the buffer include 1.54 acres for ground disturbance. DNR is proposing to locate mitigation off-site due to the fact that the project site is highly forested. Buffer mitigation comprises of 0.44 acres and includes 0.11 acres for lot coverage impacts at a rate of 3 to 1, 0.05 acres of mitigation for clearing impacts at a rate of 1 to 1, and 0.28 acres of mitigation for temporary impacts at a rate of 1 to 1. In addition, DNR proposes 0.5 acres of mitigation for clearing impacts outside of the buffer at a rate of 1 to 1. This equates to 0.94 acres and will be realized in FIDS habitat reforestation, which will be located on the edge of existing forest habitat, thereby enhancing the FIDS habitat in that area. DNR is also required to reduce phosphorus annual loads by 0.53 pounds. And DNR proposes to do this by placing permeable pavers underneath the campsites, which will achieve 0.72 pounds of annual phosphorus reduction. DNR also presented the following coastal resiliency findings. Shoreline changes include both accretion and erosion. There are no new impacts in the proximity of tidal wetlands or wetland migration areas. The bathhouse and mini cabins are located outside of the 100-year and 500-year floodplains. The campground is elevated above mean high water by 12 to 30 feet, protecting most of the site from storm surge. You can see that the part of the road is impacted and circled in black, and then the site is protected from sea level rise in its entirety. The status of other agency reviews include DNR Wildlife Heritage Service found that there are FIDS habitat present on site, but have no concerns with the proposed development activities. The Maryland Historical Trust found that there were no impacts to historical properties or archaeological areas on site. In Maryland's approval for sediment and erosion control plan and stormwater management plans are pending. The signs were posted on site on July 24th, 2021, and the project was advertised in the Maryland Independent on July 30th in 2021, and no comments have been received to date. Because DNR proposes non-water dependent development activities that impact the buffer, a conditional approval from the Critical Area Commission is required. In accordance with COMAR 2702-0601, DNR has submitted information to meet the conditional approval requirements. DNR must show that if the law were literally enforced, special features on site would prohibit the project. And this is true due to the steep slopes, the buffer is expanded, so this is the special feature on the site. DNR must also show that otherwise the proposed project provides substantial public benefits. This is also true. It increases opportunities for the public to engage in recreational activities in the critical area. And DNR must also show that otherwise the proposed project is in conformance with subtitle 270205. And this is true because impacts have been minimized to the expanded buffer. In-kind replacement occurs where feasible. Mitigation and 10% rule offsets will be implemented, and the septic system will be upgraded with ENR technologies, improving water quality. Additional approval must also demonstrate the following: that the literal enforcement of 270205 would prevent the proposed activity. This is true. If the buffer requirements were enforced, the access road would continue to degrade and limit accessibility to campers, and the aging cabins and the bathhouse could not be replaced. So as mentioned in the slide before, this project increases accessibility to the public for recreational opportunities in the critical area. Project also conforms insofar as possible with the approved local critical area program. and this is true, impacts to the expanded buffer have been minimized, and the new impacts are located further from the water than the existing impacts. The last thing must be demonstrated is that mitigation measures are proposed to offset adverse effects. So mitigation includes the 9.4 acres of FIDS habitat reforestation and the emplacement of permeable pavers underneath the camp pad sites, achieving a 0.72 pound reduction in phosphorus. The Commission shall approve, deny, and request modifications to the request for the conditional approval based on the following factors. The extent to which the project complies with the relevant chapters of COMAR 270206, the adequacy of the proposed required mitigation measures that cannot be met on site by the project, and the extent to which the project, including any mitigation measures, provides substantial public benefits to the overall critical area program. Are there any questions?
Chairman Deegan, I think you are still on mute.
I do some of my best work that way. Since we don't have any questions, I'll recognize it. Thank you, Tay. Recognize Catherine McCall, the chairman of the project subcommittee.
Sure, thank you, Chairman Deegan. On behalf of the project subcommittee, I move that the Commission approve the proposed improvements to the camping facilities loop at Smallwood State Park, including 4 new camp pads, 21 refurbished camp pads, bathhouse replacement septic system and drainage field, and widened roadway for improved accessibility. This motion is offered in accordance with the staff report and presentation and the following condition. Prior to the start of construction, DNR shall provide Commission staff with MDE's approval of stormwater management and sediment and erosion control plans. As required by the Code of Maryland regulations, this motion is based on the following considerations: for public benefits, mitigation measures that cannot be met by the project, and the extent that the project is in compliance with subtitle requirements. 1. The proposed improvements are to existing facilities and mostly in kind. Except for impacts to the critical area buffer, which has been expanded for steep slopes, there are no other impacts to habitat protection areas. As a result, the proposed project is in compliance with the relevant chapters of this subtitle. 2, the department will use permeable pavement in order to exceed stormwater management requirements and disturbances to the buffer and edge forest interior dwelling species habitat that is mitigated at ratios in accordance with the critical area regulations. The proposed mitigation, while outside the critical area, will expand existing FIDS habitat. 3rd, the proposed project offers public benefits to the critical area program by selecting a design that redevelops the camping loop at Smallwood State Park, while minimizing to the extent possible impacts to the critical area buffer and adjacent forest. Additionally, the new bathhouse will be connected to a new septic system and reserve area based on enhanced nutrient removal technology, thereby improving water quality impacts.
Thank you. Do we have a second from Anita?
Yes, Commissioner Grant seconds.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Then that motion passes unanimously too. Thank you very much. And now we can move on to our programs subcommittee. And we'll start with Kate Durant. It's going to do a refinement for Anne Arundel County forest conservation easements and text amendment.
Thank you, Chairman Deegan. All right, 1 second.
You're doing good, Kate.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Great. So, good afternoon. I'm Kate Durant. I will be presenting the Forest Conservation Easement Bill update for Anne Arundel County. Kelly Krinitz, I believe, is joining us from the county's Department of Planning and Zoning. So the County Council approved Bill 62-21 at their meeting on July 6th, 2021. This action constituted a local adoption of the Forest Conservation Easement Update. And I've gone and lost my mouse. Sorry, guys. There we go. Bill number 62-21 is legislation that will allow property owners to extinguish a forest conservation easement in the critical area if the project has not progressed to development and cannot proceed due to permits, plan applications, and approvals having expired, been terminated, or deemed null and void. Anne Arundel County currently allows forest conservation easements outside of the critical area to be extinguished for these reasons. The goal is to have the same laws for extinguishing forest conservation easements inside and outside of the critical area. Bill number 62-21 amends Article 17, Title 8, Subtitle 9. The official language of the proposed text amendment is as follows. 17-8-901, Forestation Agreement and Forest Conservation Easement. The new letter B is reconveyance of forest conservation easement. Upon a written request from the property owner made on or after the effective date of Bill number 62-21, the county shall promptly convey a forest conservation easement back to the owner if all permits and plan applications and approvals related to the development have expired, been terminated, or are otherwise null and void. With that, I will turn it over to Chairman Deegan.
I believe you're on mute, Chairman Deegan.
Okay, I'll recognize Sue Greer, Chairman of the Program Subcommittee. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Program Subcommittee recommends concurrence with the Chairman's determination that the zoning text amendment identified as Anne Arundel County Bill 62-21 be processed as a refinement to Anne Arundel County's critical area program. Further, as the proposed changes are consistent with the purposes, policies, and goals of the critical area law and regulations, the Program Subcommittee recommends the Chairman approves Bill 62-21 as proposed.
Okay, I'll accept your recommendation, and that'll be my final decision. Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to the next refinement for Anne Arundel County Critical Area Mapping Pending Matters Text Amendment. Kate Durant.
Thank you, Chairman Deegan. You have me two more times,
I know.
including this time. So good afternoon. I'm Kate Durant. I will be presenting the pending matters language update for Anne Arundel County. Kelly Krinitz from the county's Department of Planning and Zoning is joining us for the meeting. So as part of the county's mapping update, the County Council approved Bill 63-21 at their meeting on July 19th, 2021. This action constituted local adoption of the pending matters language, which this current presentation is about, and the updated maps, which will be the next presentation. Bill number 63-21 is the pending matters legislation associated with the 1,000-foot critical area boundary map update. The bill amends Article 18, Title 2 of the County Code. The official language of the proposed text amendment is as follows. 18-2-101, scope and applicability. Under existing letter B, applicability to pending and future proceedings. New number 11. The following shall be governed by the location of critical area boundaries in existence prior to the effective date of Bill number 63-21. 1. An application for development, provided any permits associated with the development are issued on or before December 1st, 2021. And 2. An application for a variance or a special exception, provided the application is filed on or before the effective date of Bill number 63-21, and Any permits associated with the application are issued on or before December 1st, 2021. A variance or special exception grandfathered under this subsection may not be extended by variance. With that, I will turn it back to Chairman Deegan.
Okay, do we have any questions? Seeing none, I'll recognize Sue Greer, the chairman of the program subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The program subcommittee recommends concurrence with the chairman's determination that the zoning text amendment identified as Anne Arundel County Bill 63-21 be processed as a refinement to Anne Arundel County's critical area program. Further, as the proposed changes are consistent with the purposes, policy, and goals of the critical area law and regulations, the program subcommittee recommends the chairman approve Bill 63-21 as proposed.
Okay, I'll accept your recommendation, and that'll be my final decision. Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on with Kate again for another refinement from Anne Arundel County on the critical area map update.
Thank you, Chairman Deegan. I swear this is the last one.
We're moving quick, though. That's good.
Again, I am Kate Durant. I'll be presenting this critical area mapping update for Anne Arundel County. Kelly Krinitz from the county's Department of Planning and Zoning is joining us. So as part of the mapping update, the County Council approved Bill 63-21 at their meeting on July 19th, 2021. This action constituted local adoption of the updated maps and the pending matters language that we just discussed. And this is required under COMAR 2701-11 for jurisdictions to update their critical area maps every 12 years. So the commission staff worked with Anne Arundel County, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, the Maryland Department of the Environment, and the Eastern Shore Regional GIS Cooperative to develop updated critical area maps for the county. The draft maps were vetted by the agencies, presented at 3 public meetings throughout Anne Arundel County, and delivered to the county for public comment and local approval. This slide shows the overall gains and losses in the critical area of Anne Arundel County. There were 1,757 acres of gains and 2,532 acres of losses, for a net loss of 775 acres. On the map, the beige outline shows the critical area, and there are a couple sections where you can see green, and then which indicates a gain in critical area, and red that indicates a loss. Anne Arundel County is very tall and narrow, so it's very hard to get it all on one screen. If you want some better pictures, there were attachments in your staff report that broke out the county into Northern County and Southern County, so you can see a little bit more detail. The next 2 slides will be examples of gains and losses, so you can see what actually happened in certain cases. So this is an example of a critical area gain. Let me get my laser pointer. So the blue line up here shows the edge of tidal water. The yellow line shows the edge of tidal wetland. The red line shows the current critical area boundary, and the green line shows the proposed 1,000-foot critical area boundary. In this case, the 1,000-foot critical area boundary moved because the edge of tidal waters and tidal wetlands was better delineated during this mapping update. And here is an example of a critical area loss. When this area was originally mapped, the pond was believed to be tidal. However, during the mapping update, further evaluation determined that the pond is not tidal. So the current critical area boundary was based off of 1,000 feet off of the pond, which is why it comes all the way up here, shown on the red line. Now that the pond is not tidal, The critical area boundary is based off of this edge. So the 1,000 foot boundary is this green line. And with that, I will turn it back to Chairman Deegan.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Hey, nobody unmuted me this time. Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, I'll give it to Sue Greer, Chairman of the Program Subcommittee.
Mr. Chairman, the Program Subcommittee recommends concurrence with the Chairman's determination that the Anne Arundel County mapping update can be reviewed as a refinement to Anne Arundel County's critical area program. Further, the Program Subcommittee recommends the Chairman approve Anne Arundel County's map amendment as proposed.
I will accept your recommendation, and that'll be my final decision. Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to another refinement for the town of Charlestown. Alex DeWeese is going to present this one.
Thank you, Chairman Deegan. Give me a second while I pull it up. Good afternoon. My name is Alex DeWeese, and first I'll be presenting the town of Charlestown's critical area map update. Charlestown is located in Cecil County, as highlighted on the map in red. A more zoomed in version of Cecil County is shown in the center of your screen. The town itself is highlighted in red. It's pretty centrally located, and it's along the Northeast River. As per 2008 updates to the critical area law, we're required to remap the 1,000-foot boundary based on recent technologies, and that has to be done every 12 years as per COMAR 270111. Staff from the town, the commission, DNR, MDE, and the Eastern Shore Regional GIS Cooperative collaborated on this update. And the map that's before you was presented at a public meeting. There were opportunities for public comment, and ultimately Ordinance 2020-02 was amended by town commissioners on August 10th of this year, constituting local adoption. So the map that we see on the screen is showing the proposed critical area and the new boundary. The proposed boundary is shown in green. The current critical area boundary is in red, and then you'll notice that there isn't any RCA on the map. The town is only IDA, which is shown in red, and LDA, which is shown in yellow. I did want to mention that this map is a little bit different than the map that we saw in this morning's presentation. The previous map that we saw was just showing the current critical area designations. It wasn't showing us what the new critical areas were going to be designated as, and this one does. So just to kind of point out one particular area that we had a question about, here the red line again is the current boundary, the green line is the proposed boundary. So this all right here is new critical area that's being designated partially as IDA and partially as LDA. So from this map update for the town of Charlestown, there will be 19 acres of critical area gained, which is shown on the map in green, 13 acres lost, which is shown on this map in red, for a net gain of 6 acres. All of the beige area represents critical area that remains the same from the map update. And with this, I will turn it back over to Chairman Deegan.
Okay, do we have any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I'll give it to Sue Greer, Chairman of the Program Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Program Subcommittee recommends concurrence with the Chairman's determination that the Town of Charlestown mapping update can be reviewed as a refinement to the town's critical area program. Further, the Program Subcommittee recommends the Chairman approve the Town of Charleston's map amendment as proposed.
And I concur with your recommendation, and it'll be my final decision. Thank you very much. Okay, well, Alex, you got Port Deposit up next.
Yes, thank you. This is still Alex DeWeese presenting. Next up, we're going to review the town of Port Deposit's critical area map update. Port Deposit is also located in Cecil County, but it's a little bit further to the west than our last town was, and it's located along the Susquehanna River. It's highlighted in red on the zoomed in map of Cecil County before you. Again, because of 2008 updates to the law, we're remapping the 1,000-foot boundary based on recent technologies, and we're doing that every 12 years as per COMAR 270111. Staff from the town, the Critical Area Commission, DNR, MDE, the Eastern Shore Regional GIS Cooperative, all collaborated on this effort. The map before you was presented at a public meeting, and there were opportunities for public comment. Ultimately, the town mayor and council adopted ordinance 2021-05 on August 17th of 2021. This constituted local adoption. I also wanted to point out that the date in your staff report does not match the date on the screen. There was a typo with the date of local adoption. The accurate date is August 17th, 2021, as shown on the screen. So again, the map before you is the proposed critical area that was delivered to the town. The current critical area boundary is shown as a red line on this map. The proposed critical area designations are shown as IDA in red, LDA in yellow, and RCA in green. So this map update will lead to a critical area gain of 13 acres and a loss of 14 acres for a net loss of 1 acre, with 243 acres remaining the same. So just like we saw with previous map updates, the beige area represents critical area that remains the same after this map update. Gains are shown in green, and critical area losses are shown in red. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Chairman Deegan.
Okay, any questions from any of the commissioners? Seeing none, I'll recognize Sue Greer, Chairman of the Program Subcommittee.
Mr. Chairman, the Program Subcommittee recommends concurrence with the Chairman's determination that the Town of Port Deposit mapping update can be reviewed as a refinement to the town's critical area program. Further, the Program Subcommittee recommends the Chairman approve the Town of Port Deposit's map amendment as proposed.
I'll accept that recommendation, and that'll be my final decision, and that takes care of those five refinements. Thank you very much. Next, for the moment you've all been waiting for, Charlotte Sharon will talk about Village Downriver. It's kind of like a hangover from the last commission meeting. And we're anxiously awaiting your presentation, Charlotte.
Oh, I hope not.
You've done good.
Okay.
All of you have on this.
Thank you very much, Chairman Deegan.
Charlotte,
yes.
You're not in presentation mode yet.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
It's all right. I keep getting muted, so.
Is it now?
No, no.
If you go to slideshow, will it do it?
Like in PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still showing us PowerPoint. If you start the presentation, switch back to Teams and then share the other, stop sharing.
Okay.
Turn on the slideshow mode and then share the screen that has the full screen on it.
Okay, let me try that. Once I go into slideshow mode in PowerPoint, I can't get back to Teams.
Hold down Alt and press Tab, and you can switch back to Teams. You might have to hit Tab multiple times to get to Teams, but it'll show you a list of programs. We see a desktop now.
My computer is thinking.
Okay.
We see it.
And now it's full screen.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Seemed unnecessarily difficult. Okay. My name is Charlotte Sharon, and today I will be presenting the Village Downriver Growth Allocation Revision. Also on the line, we have County Attorney Paul Wilbur, County Planning Director Lori Carter, as well as County Executive John Pizzotta. Wicomico County is located on the eastern shore of Maryland, and the Village Downriver project is located just west of the city of Salisbury in Wicomico County. In 2007, Wicomico County applied for a growth allocation to change 61.37 acres from RCA to LDA in order to develop the Village Downriver development. As part of the Commission's approval of this request, several proffers were made in lieu of the required 300-foot setback from tidal waters. Additionally, the site itself was limited to 15% lot coverage overall, with more specific lot coverage limits set within the IDA and LDA designations. When the site plan was approved, the total overall lot coverage limit for the site was reduced further to 9.1%. Using the 15% lot coverage limit in the IDA and keeping the overall limit to 9.1%, the county showed that the stormwater pollutant removal requirement would be vastly exceeded. The site plan was approved by Commission staff in 2008 as required under condition number 3 of the Commission's approval of the growth allocation. Sheet 3 of the approved plan, which is also attachment 3 in your staff report, lays out the lot coverage limits for the site overall within the IDA, within the LDA, and for each individual unit. This information on the slide is located in the upper left corner of the site plan, again, attachment 3 to your staff report. You'll see that the IDA is limited to 15% and the site overall is limited to 9.1%. As part of the growth allocation approval, the county showed that by limiting the lot coverage on this site in this way, they were able to provide a phosphorus reduction credit of approximately 8 pounds, thereby vastly exceeding the stormwater management requirement. This stormwater credit was proffered as part of the 300-foot setback offset. The site plan also provided contingency impervious that was meant to be doled out to individual unit owners and tracked by the county. This impervious surface schedule is located in the lower left corner of the site plan, which again is attachment 3 to your staff report. Here you'll see that each unit was typically limited to around 1,000 square feet of lot coverage for a driveway and approximately 2,500 square feet for a dwelling. The totals on this table match the lot coverage limits within the IDA, the LDA, and the site as a whole, as shown on the previous slide. However, the county misinterpreted this table, allowing many units to be built out at double the allowable lot coverage limit. The result is that many of the units currently built within the IDA have used almost all of the lot coverage allotted to the IDA, thereby preventing the unbuilt units from being constructed without exceeding the allowed IDA lot coverage limit. Because the IDA lot coverage limit is tied to the stormwater credit that was part of the 300-foot setback proffers for the growth allocation, the county must seek approval from the commission to raise the lot coverage limit within the IDA so that the unbuilt units may be constructed. You'll also see in this image that some units have been combined. Units 9 and 13 no longer exist as they were split between 8A and 10B split unit 9, and 11B and 12A split unit 13. This matter came before the program subcommittee at the August 4th commission meeting, and the program subcommittee made a motion with the following directives to Wicomico County. Number 1, the county was to provide a revised lot coverage table detailing the proposed limits for each unit within the Village Downriver community, as well as within the IDA overall and the LDA overall. Number 2, the county was to provide a stormwater management plan that shows compliance with the 10% stormwater phosphorus reduction for the additional lot coverage proposed within the IDA based on the proposed lot coverage limits in directive number 1. And finally, the county was to provide accountability metrics for moving the Village Downriver project forward while ensuring that the project will not exceed the revised lot coverage limits for each unit or the lot coverage limits within the IDA and LDA. Since the August 4th commission meeting, the county has conducted a site visit with commission staff to visit the Pirates Wharf mitigation site, which Pirates Wharf is a county-owned park where riparian buffer plantings are proposed as a stormwater offset to meet the additional 10% pollutant reduction requirement resulting from the proposed increase in lot coverage within the IDA. The county has also submitted a revised lot coverage table with the county's proposed lot coverage allocation. Commission Science Advisor Claudia Jones attended the site visit to the Pirates Wharf mitigation site and has confirmed that riparian buffer plantings in this location will provide the necessary water quality benefits to offset the proposed additional lot coverage within the IDA at Village Downriver. The county has also provided a rough not to scale plan showing the location of 1.06 acres of proposed riparian buffer plantings at Pirates Wharf, which will meet the additional 10% phosphorus reduction required in the IDA for the increase in lot coverage proposed by the county. This plan is attachment 1C to your staff report, and you can see here the location of the proposed plantings. Pirates Wharf Park is located downriver from the Village Downriver development and within the same watershed. The county also provided their proposed lot coverage allocation, which can be found in attachment 4, column 5, titled 2021 Proposed Lot Coverage Limit by Wicomico County. Commission staff created the table in attachment 4 to show a comparison between the originally allocated lot coverage from 2008 and the county's current proposal. This table also shows how much lot coverage each unit has remaining for development based on the county's allocation. That information can be found in column 6, titled Remaining Lot Coverage as of October 2021. Attachment 4A to your staff report provides a comparison of the lot coverage totals within the IDA and LDA. The county's proposed lot coverage allocation results in an increase in the IDA lot coverage of 0.94 acres and a decrease in the LDA lot coverage of 0.91 acres. Attachment 5 to the staff report summarizes all necessary revisions to sheet 3 of the site plan that would be required to implement the new lot coverage allocation proposed by the county. The county's proposed lot coverage allocation results in a lot coverage limit for the entire site of 10.01 acres. This is a 0.02 acre increase, approximately 870 square feet, from the original lot coverage limit for the site, which was 9.99 acres. This is accomplished by increasing the lot coverage limit within the IDA portion of the site, while also decreasing the lot coverage limit within the LDA portion of the site. Attachment 5 will be referenced later in our conditions. The county has not yet provided a planting agreement or detailed planting plan for the Pirates Wharf mitigation site. They have also not addressed the subcommittee's request for accountability and compliance metrics regarding the revised lot coverage table for development within the Village Downriver community moving forward. Therefore, in order to ensure the project is consistent with the approved growth allocation and the critical area law and regulations, the program subcommittee approved the county's revised proposed lot coverage table as authorized under condition number 3 of the 2007 growth allocation approval and the stormwater offset proposal with the following conditions. And at the break around lunchtime, we sent out an email with an addendum to my staff report. Hopefully everybody received that. But you'll find in the addendum all of the new revised conditions of approval that were approved by the program subcommittee this morning. This is a long list of conditions, so staff has divided them into 3 categories for ease of explanation. The revisions and new conditions added by the program subcommittee this morning will be shown in capital letters on each slide. The first 3 conditions pertain to the revised lot coverage schedule and site plan. Condition number 1 requires the county to record the revised site plan with the lot coverage table approved today by December 31st, 2021. This date is a revision from what is in the original staff report and resulted from discussion during the program subcommittee this morning. The addendum you received by email this morning reflects this change. Attachment 5 in your staff report shows exactly how the revised lot coverage table and references on the site plan to impervious surface or lot coverage must be updated with the new totals in the IDA, the LDA, and overall, and also shown in, which is also shown in attachment 5. Finally, the revised site plan should reflect the revised plats for the units that have been combined. Yesterday, Commission staff received a revised sheet 3 of the site plan from the county. Commission staff will be reviewing this submittal to determine whether it meets the criteria in condition 1. Condition number 2 requires the county to provide a copy of the revised and recorded sheet 3 within 10 days of recordation. Condition number 3 lays out the consequences should the county fail to meet condition 1 with the revised December 31st, 2021 deadline. The county will be deemed in conflict with the critical area law and regulations under Natural Resources Article 8-1809 and will be notified of this conflict. The county will not be able to issue any permits or approvals in the Village Downriver community until that conflict is corrected. The next 3 conditions pertain to the additional 10% stormwater pollutant removal requirement due to the proposed increase in lot coverage within the IDA. Condition number 4 requires the county to submit by the revised December 31st, 2021 deadline, the signed planting agreement form, which is also attachment 6 to the staff report, as well as complete information showing the proposed 1.06 acre planting site and landscape schedule that includes a planting date, as well as a maintenance plan for control of invasives, a monitoring plan for at least 5 years of monitoring, and provisions for maintaining the survivability rates required in COMAR. The county must submit annual inspections and provide to commission staff an annual report of these inspections within 30 days of completion. Condition number 5 is a new condition from my staff report and is reflected in the addendum sent out this morning. The program subcommittee added condition number 5 to require an area of natural regeneration equal to the planted area proposed as a stormwater offset for the additional lot coverage within the IDA. New condition 6 lays out the consequences should the county fail to meet condition number 4 and new condition number 5. The county will be required to appear before the program subcommittee at its next scheduled meeting. The final conditions pertain to the accountability metrics for ensuring the revised lot coverage allocation is adhered to into the future. Condition number 7 requires the county adhere to the revised lot coverage limits and allocation by unit as shown on the site plan by requiring as-built surveys and documenting lot coverage information for each individual critical area certificate of compliance as issued for each permit for each unit. Condition number 8 requires that within 10 days of permit approval for any unit within the Village Downriver community, the county shall send copies of all critical area certificates of compliance to commission staff for review. Condition number 9 states that the county may not amend the newly recorded site plan as required under condition number 1 without prior approval of the critical area commission. Condition number 10 was added by the program subcommittee this morning to require Wicomico County provide an update to the program subcommittee at its next meeting after the December 31st, 2021 deadline associated with the previous conditions. And with that, I will turn it over to Chairman Deegan. Happy Halloween.
Thank you, Charlotte. You have any questions or from any of our commissioners? Or did we? Oh, is that good news? Well, with that, I will turn this over to Sue Greer, Chairman of the Program Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just want to really advise the full commission that the Program Subcommittee did not undertake the review of this request lightly. As you can tell, we worked hard over 2 meetings. And I would like to thank the program subcommittee members for their hard work, as well as the commission staff and your excellent legal counsel, as well as the county. We struggled and worked hard to come to a conclusion that we felt best addressed the mission of the Critical Area Commission, the county's needs and balanced the needs of the residents of the Village Downriver development as well. So with that, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the program subcommittee, I move that the commission approve the Village Downriver site plan revision as authorized under condition number 3 of the Critical Area Commission's 2007 growth allocation approval, and that the commission accept Wicomico County's lot coverage table and stormwater management offset proposal with the conditions detailed in the staff report as amended by the program subcommittee and as currently reflected on slides number 18 to 31 in the area staff PowerPoint presentation and the October 6, 2021 addendum to the staff report.
Okay, do we have a second? Nicole Ackley, did you want to second that?
So moved.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. We have any other discussion on this matter? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 We have any opposed? Any abstentions?
This is Jennifer Merritt abstaining.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, that motion carries, and I want to thank everybody for their hard work on this. It wasn't easy to get to, but I hope it's going to be a satisfactory solution to a kind of a difficult problem, and I think it'll work out great. So let's hope so. At next to Little Island, this is probably one of my favorite projects. For those of you who don't know, Little Island, I think, was the longest running case the Critical Commission ever had. But okay, well, that takes care of that. Do we have any old business? Emily, you have any legal updates for us?
Yes, I do have 2 updates. One of them involves a new case and one of them involves an update to one of the existing cases. So I'm going to start with the update first. The update is to a case entitled Trainer, which is in Cecil County. And in this case, the Cecil County Board of Appeals granted a critical area variance to Mr. Trainer to construct a pool in the critical area buffer. We had opposed the critical area variance request through a letter of opposition, and we also participated at the Board of Appeals hearing. And after the board granted the variance over our objections, the commission filed an appeal in the circuit court. That was all back in about December of 2020. And the circuit court case is finally concluded, and so I'm pleased to report that we were successful in our challenge. The court agreed with our position that the Board of Appeals had applied the incorrect law to the trainer's variance application. Specifically, the Board of Appeals applied general variance criteria as opposed to the very specific critical area variance criteria that's located in the Natural Resources article and in the Code of Maryland regulations. So the court vacated the decision, which means they just canceled it, and sent it back to the Board of Appeals basically for a do-over. So we understand that the Board of Appeals will take this up at the end of the month, and at that time the Board of Appeals will have to decide if the variance, if the lot coverage variance for the pool meets the critical area variance standards, and then we will of course argue again that it does not meet the standards, and we will see what happens this time around. So that is the first update. And then the second case I'm going to talk to you about, you have received an email on this already, but I'm just going to go through it briefly. The new case is called In the Matter of Mert Onal. Mr. Onal filed a petition for judicial review in the circuit court for Anne Arundel County, and he is challenging the Anne Arundel County Board of Appeals decision to deny a critical area variance for construction of a single family dwelling that would disturb steep slopes. And the property is located along the Magathie River in Pasadena. So far in that case, the Critical Area Commission has filed its response to the petition, and along with the county, we are requesting that the board's decision be affirmed. And that is all I have, Charlie. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One thing I wanted to mention is I wanted to certainly thank Catherine McCall for sitting as project's chair today. Sandy Hertz is celebrating an anniversary, I believe. So thank you, Catherine. Appreciate that. Kate, do you have any new business that I've forgotten?
No, I do not have any additional new or old business. It was brought up earlier this morning. We are not sure yet as the status of a November commission meeting, so I hope to have that sorted out by next week, and then we will send out an update by email accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is very good. We're finishing early today, so I say we stand adjourned. And thank you all very much for your time today, and certainly for the work on Village Downriver. So every now and then we get a complicated one, and well, I guess we get complicated ones almost every day, but that took the star of this month. So okay, thank you very much, and we stand adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.